Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for Rum and Rumors of Rum, episode number 6. Arr! Coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas on Saturday, July 11th, 2026, where it is currently 97 degrees. While my usual drink is whiskey, I do enjoy some rum once in a while, and the history of America is heavily influenced by rum. Rum from the Caribbean, South America, and even domestic rum. Today is a rum holiday, World Rum Day. Just the facts. We're looking at Santa Teresa 1796 rum. Comes from Venezuela, 80 proof. This is a Solera rum, so it really has no age statement. This 750 milliliter bottle cost about $41 here in Fort Worth. Tasting notes. I find this rum to be delicious. It has some sherry notes from the cask, honey, oak, tobacco, leather, even some hints of chocolate. Score, 94. Letter grade for drinkability, A+. My recommendation. I think that if you like an old-fashioned cocktail with Crown Royal Black, Canadian Club 12, or Black Velvet, you would love an old-fashioned with Santa Teresa 1796 Venezuelan rum. Or, if you're liking to sip rum, this is a good, easy sipper. A little bit of history. World Rum Day began in 2019, and all my sources are saying by Paul Jackson, and they're saying that he was an author who wrote about alcohol and liquors. I can't find any of his books anywhere, so I'm not sure. But rum is a fermented spirit based on sugarcane, molasses, or raw sugar. Sugarcane wines have been around for thousands of years, apparently, beginning in Southeast Asia, where sugarcane started. But the rum as we know it began in the Caribbean in the early 1600s. And by 1664, the first rum distillery in one of the North American colonies on Staten Island, at that point it was New Amsterdam, but later on it would become New York. So our American history of making rum goes back really further than whiskey making. All right, some details. Count Martin Tovar Ponte was a signer of the Venezuelan Declaration of Independence, establishing this estate in the Aragua Valley of Argentina in 1796, and had a distillery and sugarcane on the estate. But it was purchased by the Volmar family in the late 1800s and has remained in the Volmar family ever since. So Santa Teresa rum is known as the first registered rum in Venezuela. Now, I purchased this rum in Fort Worth the first week of January of 2026 to celebrate the American Operation Absolute Resolve, which freed Venezuela from Maduro, their communist dictator. And along with that, I've got a buddy who's in the Navy. He's a chief, and he presented me this year with a challenge coin from the Iwo Jima that participated in that operation in January and recovered Maduro and transported him home to America. So challenge coins are a thing, not just in the military, but lots of places. So this is a chief's coin from the Iwo Jima. So that's part of the reason why this rum showed up on my shelf. I researched Venezuelan rums at liquor stores here in Fort Worth and acquired that. So for history, I think this rum deserves a 5 out of 5. Bottle, label, and marketing. Clear glass. It's got kind of a squarish, cross-shaped bottom there, but then it turns rounded as you go up and it flares outward a little bit. Relatively short shoulders, medium length neck, and you can see some brown wax. This was sealed in wax. It's got a heavily waxed cap, and then I think it's a real cork. The label is pretty nice and classy label. Again, it's got a kind of a picture of a hacienda there, maybe. Santa Teresa estate, I guess. And it's got some kind of a unique little seal there. I'm not sure of the significance of that. It does have a little bit of a hoo-ha statement on the back, but it's gold print on kind of a creamy off-white label, so that makes it very difficult to read. This rum was created by the Vollmer family to commemorate the Hacienda Santa Teresa, where our story was born in 1796. Over 2 centuries of history of Venezuela has instilled character in our people and our rum. This elegant, awarded super premium rum is triple aged through our unique Solera method, resulting in a smooth and balanced profile with a long-lasting taste of nuts, dried fruits, vanilla, cinnamon, and hints of black pepper. Really gold print on an off-white label. Oh well. Okay, so I don't have any other advertising for this that I was able to find. They do have a website that was reasonably good. So I really like the bottle and the label though. So 5 out of 5 for bottle, label, and marketing. Appearance of this rum in the bottle, you can see there is a sherry influence there, but this is really dark. This is almost like coffee. Probably more like a really dark iced tea. And in the glass, again, just super dark. That's a 4. 4 out of 5 for appearance. Composition, again, this is 40% ABV or 80 proof. And Venezuelan rum is aged in bourbon barrels, but then aged again in Solera casks, and I think a sherry cask is involved there too. It's vatted in French oak in the Solera style, which means it's blended with lots of rums that are, it says even over 30 years of age. So it's really got a lot of age going on in there. So composition 13 out of 15. Let's get to the whiskey or the rum itself. On the nose, dark fruit notes, tobacco, leather, honey, and oak. So it's a very rich, interesting nose. That is 9 out of 10. It's pretty rare for me to give it 9. All right, tasting. Wow. Yeah, what you get on the taste, what you get in the nose. This is ridiculously good. There is a little bit of a sherry influence there, I think. Honey, oak, tobacco, leather, hints of chocolate. One of the things I really appreciate about this is it's not super sweet. There are a lot of bourbons that are sweeter than this rum. And this has a lot of those darker notes going on there. This is amazing. This is right up my alley. 24 of 25. This is a top score. The mouthfeel, rich and creamy. The burn is just barely above mouth tingles. So it's a low grade burn, but it's there. So it's appropriate for 80 proof. I could wish for a little bit more burn maybe, but it's very proof appropriate. The flavors do linger a bit on the finish, so it's a fairly long finish. Getting those fruit notes, the leather, tobacco, all of those notes are staying with me. A little bit of the tingles, the burn staying with me. So really quite the long finish. So for mouthfeel, burn, and finish, 14 out of 15. Versatility and flexibility. I prefer it neat, obviously. I like most of my drinks, I really prefer it neat. But I think this has enough flavor going on to where if you want to ice it, I guess you could. But where this really shines, other than neat, I did try an old fashioned. And I did Angostura bitters, some Aztec chocolate bitters, turbinado sugar cube, and Luxardo cherry, small orange peel. And it was amazing. So this is very flexible. But let's make another cocktail. And I'm going to experiment a little bit and see what happens. It's probably not going to live up to the old fashioned. The old fashioned was superior. That's my favorite cocktail. But today, as well as World Rum Day, this is also World Mojito Day. And so that is a rum cocktail. And I've never tried that before. I've never had one before. So this is a total experiment. So we'll see what a mojito turns out with Santa Teresa rum. Hold on. And we're back with my first ever mojito. And so this has lime juice, mint. So you can see the mint leaves down there along with 2 lime halves. And then some more mint up there. Rum and soda water. So here we go. And that was a waste of a good rum. It's not terrible, but maybe I got too much lime juice in there. Too much mint. Too much everything except rum. I don't know. Don't try this at home. Stand by. Okay. My wife tried this too. She was also not impressed. Now, I got to say that the recipes that I looked at all used a cheaper white rum of one kind or the other. Not, and this isn't terribly expensive. I mean, $41, $42. But this is an aged rum and premium rum. I mean, this is a sipping rum. So maybe that was one of my mistakes. I don't know. It seems heavy on the lime and heavy on the mint, heavy on the water. It's just, I don't know. It's a waste of a rum. But again, I've never had a mojito in a restaurant or bar, so I'm not real sure what they're supposed to be like. And all I know is that's a beautiful rum that I've ruined. Sadness. Okay, I'm going to stick with the old fashioned. The old fashioned I made with this the other day was simply amazing. And so I think I'll stick with that. I mean, the goal of a mojito is it's supposed to be light and refreshing, a little bit zesty on a hot summer day, which is what we've got going on now. But this was, I mean, it's minty, limey, but too much mint. And believe me, I didn't put as much mint as the guys I watched on the video. I mean, I don't know. But next time I make this, if I make this again, I would have to have a lighter rum. I'm not going to use a good aged rum on this again. And I saw a story, I think on Anders Ericsson's show. He talked about the English sea dog captain Francis Drake, and how when he was in Cuba, he was sick. His men were sick. They all had scurvy. And they went ashore and got some supplies to try to fix the situation. And they came back with, rum and limes and mint and made basically the mojito. And so that, because of the vitamin C that you get in the limes, it cured their scurvy. So that's an interesting story if that actually happened. But otherwise, what Anders said was that the mojito was developed, written down at least in the 1920s or 30s. So it's a fairly recent cocktail. Well, recent, 100 years. And I can see how it would be very good and popular if done right. Mine's not done well. And so I will try this again somewhere with a professional. Okay. So for versatility, flexibility, 5 out of 5. Price, value, and availability, goody, $47.99, which is obviously where I got this because I am drawn to high prices for stuff. I don't know. I always make that mistake. Specs was $40.99 and Total Wine $40.99. So it's widely available. I just didn't shop around. I was, in a hurry after the invasion of Venezuela. So there you go. Good availability, reasonable prices. I think the $40.99 is a very good price for high quality rum. So 10 out of 10 for price, value, and availability. Bonus points. This may have become my favorite rum. I mean, I really like the Dorley's 12. I've got Brugal 1888. That's really pretty good. A couple of others. This has a good story. It's got a beautiful bottle, great taste and flexibility for a great price. And again, I bought this as a political statement. So 5 out of 5 bonus points, giving me a total score of a 94. Very high score. Letter grade for drinkability, A+. Analysis and recommendation. While most people who drink rum use it as a cheap mixer in Coke or Caribbean cocktails, I really prefer drinking it neat, and this rum, that is substantially less sweet than its cheaper cousins, is a superior rum for drinking neat. But it also makes a killer old-fashioned, but apparently the Mojito is kind of a fail. So don't do a Mojito with this rum. All right, next up, I will be going back to my Texas Rye Whiskey Studies channel, and we're going to continue our National Rye Tournament. And coming up in the tournament, this is the second round, and so we're going to have Jim Beam Rye against its cousin, Basil Hayden Dark Rye. That's coming up on Texas Rye Whiskey Studies. All right, with failed Mojito in hand, this is Stab the Dragon for Rum and Rumors of Rum. Out here.